we actually built this website, we literally went to the 5 areas of the state. We broke the state into 5 major areas, and we held meetings to talk to them about what quality of life meant to them, what kind of data we should actually try to collect. Dr. Michelle Lasong, I recruited from the Department of Education.
And when Secretary Brunner brought me on board, we had discussions about what Better Lives, Better Ohio could be, and we decided that it would be best if we had information that cut across the lifespan of Ohioans. Our 3 main goals was to have it visual, interactive, easy to use, and the ability to download every indicator that is found on the website. The indicators cut across the lifespan of Ohioans from infancy to retirement.
It was her concept to start with 2001, which was sort of a pivotal year if you think about 9/11, and start collecting those statistics on a yearly basis so that if people wanted to see patterns and trends, they could look at a 5-year period. And then we took that information. It fell roughly into 7 categories: economy, health, family, public safety, natural resources, government, civic, and education. And we've been letting people know in the state of Ohio that this tool is available, and it's been great, for instance, for nonprofits who need baseline data to apply for grants. It's also been good for local chambers of commerce or business incubators who are able to take the key things about people in their area, about things about quality of life in their area, and sort of paint a picture of the type of worker a new employer would get if they brought jobs to a particular area. And it allows everyday citizens to be able to say, okay, have things gotten better in this area or worse, and I wonder why, and of course researchers use this quite often.
Here is the Secretary of State's webpage. And to access Better Lives, Better Ohio, you click on the button that has Better Lives, Better Ohio. And for general information search, you can click on that photo. If you'd like to have some help to get started, you can click here and we have a pictorial on how to access the information on the website. Here is a category drop-down box, and let's pick government and civic. And for our example, we can look at library visits. And click on the map chart, and here we have a map of library visits for the state of Ohio, and the boundaries are based on counties. And if you put the cursor over the county, a number will pop up, and if you click on a specific county, it'll direct you to what is called a data report. And here's a drop down by the county, and you could look at specific counties or you could look at all counties. On the left-hand side, we have all the definitions for each of the indicator and further information. And we also have the source information. Also, if you would like, you could download the data on an Excel spreadsheet to your computer. And all our indicators have that download availability.
It's fairly easy to use, it's fairly intuitive. You click on different parts of the state, you see trends over time, you see, I think, maps. Anything that's visual, whether it's the charts or the maps, are really useful.
Here we have education data broken up by traditional public schools, community schools, and non-public schools. So here for traditional public schools, if we go to free and reduced lunch, we could even look at the information by building. So you could click on a county, and then we have it broken down by school district, and you click on a school district. Or from that school district, you could select a specific building. And as you could see, we have from 2001 to 2009, the most recent data available, the number of students receiving free and reduced lunch based on information at the Ohio Department of Education.
The more localized it is down to the county, the better. And so that's a nice feature of what this service has to offer, is it goes down to the county level. I think a lot of the statistics that are in there can help a family decide if this is a place I can find a job, is this a place that will provide childcare, is this a place where I can afford housing.
What I would like for you to do is give us at least a roadmap of where we should go from here in terms of other data that we should gather, because we want your subjective opinions based on your experiences in living here in Ohio, and talk about where you think along a continuum we could define thriving, stable, at risk, and in crisis.
Ohio has what we call a data desert. There's simply not enough good data out there to be able to help policymakers determine what programs are working, what programs are not working. And so we think these types of proposals, these types of seminars are very helpful.
It gives policymakers, whether they're in the legislature or state government or even the federal government, some idea of things other than just economic conditions. This is the first time we've done anything like this that I'm aware of in Ohio. Back in the 1800s, the Secretary of State used to keep track of, for instance, the number of sheep in Clark County. So we took this into the 21st century, and what we attempted to do was to get as diverse a group of people as we could from around the state, from all levels of socioeconomic background, whatever your work background is, the area that you work in, that your passion is, as well as geographic diversity.
There were community people here, business people, and then state legislators and state people, so that it's finally a collaboration. And that's what really impressed me as a citizen as well as a business person and a healthcare person.
I think that we brought together a really great group of people who had great ideas on how to effectively measure the state incorporating the diversity that is Ohio.
And we did what statute requires for us to do, which is to collect the statistics and information from the various agencies around the state. And what we'll be able to do is merge that data and give sort of a grade for where we stand for quality of life in Ohio. And that can be broken down then into a report where we talk about where we know we're doing well, but where we might like to do better.
Some kind of measure of how philanthropic we are, that's really, it tells a lot about a state. Percent of people who have passports, in terms of how global we are in this increasingly diverse and global world. And then finally, what kind of access to transportation, public transportation, do people have? That's a good measure of some things that we wanted to see incorporated into a measure of how good Ohio is.
The categories thriving, stable, at risk, and in crisis is very subjective. And if we take the subjective and we quantify it and we see how well we're doing, because a lot of times if one thing affects the state of Ohio, it's affecting all the other states also.
Healthcare, education, all the things that were on those lists today, they affect everybody in every community, and I think this is the first time that I've seen it reach out, and Ohio needs to do that.
If we can start to say, here's where we're doing well, but here's where we know we can do better, and we're going to start working on this, it's going to make a difference.
This is a great start, and I think a lot of people are going to benefit from the information that gets presented over time.
Once we get the information, and once we see what's out there, all of that is going to really give us an indication where we need to move for quality of life in Ohio.
It was just, I thought, very, very, very good, the collection. So I'm walking out here, I walked in here with no expectations of what to expect, and I'm walking out here with very high expectations.
Well, I really applaud the effort. I hope this continues into the future, because what really makes data useful is being able to look at it over time, and having consistent data over time and across place is a real value to everybody.